Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to update my dropper lever to this wolf tooth remote light action lever is what it's called. Light action basically means that it's a longer lever, so it gives you more leverage, and so it's much easier to actuate the mechanism that allows your post to drop down. I'm going to replace the Shimano lever that came with my bike. I wouldn't say this is a terrible lever, but I think this is a little kinked, and I really like wolf tooth products and I like to support them, so that's probably more my primary reason. Also, look at that cable. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I'm kind of making fun of how long the dropper cable is on my bike, so I'll probably shorten that a little bit. So if we want to compare, basically they're going to be very similar, but you can see that the arm on this lever is longer once I get it pushed all the way out there, but it's essentially going to be, in the same position, function exactly the same. The cable is going to go right in this roller here, similar to how it goes there. So not a whole lot going on here. This is a little mounting piece, so this is compatible with my new XT levers, and so wolf tooth does have compatible levers for all difference. They got ones that clamp onto your handlebars, ones that'll work with different levers, things like that. So nice thing about wolf tooth is they really try to cover their bases and give you options no matter what kind of bike situation. I believe they even make droppers for like road bike handlebars and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty impressive. So let's get to this. It's pretty straightforward, but yeah, I'll do a little how to install this. We won't have to do anything at the post because that's all internal in here. I'm going to reuse the same cable and everything, so nothing to do here this time. The mechanism is down in here somewhere, probably somewhere where the shock mount is, but you pull the post out, disconnect the cable or whatever from there, but I don't need to do that. I'm just going to work on here, shorten the cable a little bit, install the new lever, refeed this, and clamp it onto the new lever. Okay, so here we go. The first thing to do is I gotta remove the old cable. So I gotta go under here. There's a little screw. I don't know if this is the right size. Yes, it is. Okay, so once I undo this, the cable will be able to be pulled out from the lever. There is this little cap on the end, so I gotta snip that off. I have the cutters right here to do that. Park cable cutter. And now that's off of there. Now I can basically just pull on the other end over here and just really just yank that thing out. So now that's out. I'm not gonna worry about this frayed or anything like that because I'm really gonna cut this down, so I'm gonna have plenty of extra cable there. I might even want to look at this and make sure it's not like tight in there, and I think I just answered my question because I can hear it wiggling around and it's really easy to pull back and forth. So the cable's fine, it's sliding in the housing, but you do want to check that because sometimes gunk, erosion, stuff like that can get into the cable housing and make the cable hard to pull in and out, and that might make the lever harder to push, but that isn't the case here. So now that the cable's out of here, I can basically, oh yeah, that is bent. I was wondering that. I can basically remove this, but to do that, I got to take the grip off and remove the lever. So that'll be the next step. Okay, now that I have the lever removed from the bar, which I actually had to loosen the bar and slide it that way a little bit to get this off because of how kind of tight the cables are here, which is fine. I would rather have my cables be a little more compact. So here's where things get a little more specific, and I didn't show this very well when I installed this during the lever install, but or brake install, but I'll show it now. Is there's this little bolt underneath here. If you look closely, you'll see that it's slotted, and then the brake is also slotted, where the clamp is. So this lever has adjustability to go that way and down and up, which is really slick because you can really get it in the position that you want it for your hand and to your liking. But we're going to remove the Shimano lever. All right, we'll get that off of there, and we're going to put the wolf tooth one on, and it should just be pretty straightforward. So once I get this free, I don't want to lose the piece on the inside of the lever. I probably need to use the tool a little more. I'm just trying to do it by hand. I try to do stuff as much by hand as I can. Oh, and that's separated. Okay, there's a little rubber gasket. I kind of like it when companies do that inside there, and that keeps the bolt from just falling right out, which is kind of nice. If you watched my videos in the past, what you'll know is now that I got this piece out of here, and you'll see how this is slotted in there. Before I put the new lever in, I'm going to take the old lever and I'm going to put this back together. I'm a big fan of doing that, because if you don't do that, you start getting parts separated. And if I ever want to reuse this or give it to somebody or sell it or whatever, right, I want all the parts there. So see how I'm putting this little part back on there, so it's all one piece. I make sure it's threaded on enough so it's not just going to fall off. Now there's a whole Shimano lever that has, I believe, a bent barrel adjuster or something, or the barrel adjuster's kind of funky. I think it might have gotten a little tweaked. Who knows? Now we have the wolf tooth one, and if you notice, this is also bolted on there, so it's all one piece ready to go. So now I gotta install this on the lever. The trick is you know, making sure I get it on there correctly, right? So let's go ahead and do that part. All right, so I'm taking this off. I don't know if wolf tooth put a little gasket on here or if this is just gonna fall out. Yep, that one looks like it's just gonna fall out. So I gotta hold that in there or I'm gonna lose that little bolt. So the tricky part is going to be taking this, putting this plate, and you can see where it's slotted. You want the flat sides and obviously the curve to go with the brake lever, so it's pretty obvious how it should go in there. And then I want this to line up. This is kind of tricky. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll stick the tool on there, right, and then that way I can line them up. Wow, this is not easy. And then once I get the threads started, I'm good to go. But getting those threads started is going to be the tricky part. All right, let me figure this out because it's obviously not as easy as it looks. Okay, I did get it. The plate's back there in the back. Let's see if you can see that. And the bolt goes through and into that plate. The wolf tooth lever only has adjustability this way. It doesn't have adjustability left and right, although I thought they had, maybe not, a different way to adjust. Yeah, I believe they do. I think you can, yes. The way the wolf tooth lever works is I believe you can slide the entire lever on the body here, so it's just a little different, but it does allow for adjustability that way. So even though it looks like it does not, it does. It just does it differently. Kind of remember that from my last lever. So what I'm going to do to start off is I'm going to push this all the way up in the furthest up position, and continue tightening this down. That was a pain in the butt, I'm not gonna lie. Getting that to thread into the plate. What I had to do is I just had to take the turn the camera off and focus on it, because I was trying to, like, you know, focus on angling it and doing it in the video just right, and it was making it hard for me to really focus on lining that up. All right, now I can stick this back on the handlebar and get everything dialed. I'm gonna have to work that again because, like I said, the cable wasn't long enough to reach the handlebar, so or for it to reach around the handlebar. So I just have to play around with that. I'll get it back on the handlebar, get the grip on, and then we'll go ahead and do the rest of this install. So now what I need to do, now that I have this on here, is, if you remember, this cable is way too long and I need to shorten it, but I have to be careful. You don't want it so short that it's like, see how it kind of binds these other cables? And then I actually have the tripod in the way. If I turn the bars this way, the bars actually stiffen up. I'm holding the cable here to the lever to give it the appearance, and then as I go, if this cable's being tugged on, that means it's too short. It goes that way fine, but this is the way I really need to be more concerned with. So I need to pull it out and get it to a point where I can turn the bars at least 90 degrees, in my opinion, to do that. I don't think this is a bike I'll ever like be doing X-ups or anything on, but you know, I want freedom of movement of the bars. So I'm gonna let this come out a little bit more and probably cut this cable right about here. And so I'll probably cut like that much off with the cutters. In order to do that, I gotta get this out of there, because if I cut it like this, I'm gonna cut the cable too, and we don't want to cut the cable, we only want to cut the housing. So the tricky part is going to be, I'm going to have to like pull this out of the frame a little bit or something and get this wire to at least make it go back to here before I cut this. Because if I just cut it now, I'm, you know, just pretty much made it, so I have to get a new inner wire because I cut the wire and the housing to the same length. Hopefully that makes sense. You do not want to do that. You need to pull this back far enough, and I gotta obviously cut off the frayed end because it isn't going to pull through there very good if that's not done. So. Okay, so here's why I like to just kind of do this stuff on the fly and go through it with you on my channel, is I come to a little snafu. So because I need to get the inner wire pulled back, I cut off the frayed part, right, into the housing before I can cut the housing. The issue is that I started trying to figure out, where does this go in the frame, right? So here it goes, right? And then it goes through the down tube. And then when I see this thing coming out here, I believe that is the rear shifter, not the dropper cable. So the shifter must come from this side and go through the down tube in there. So my guess is the dropper post, or dropper cable goes down the down tube through this bend, right? And it's inside, and then it comes up through here and feeds into the bottom of the seat post. So I have no access to that thing throughout the whole system. So the only way I have access is to do what I said I didn't have to do, is I have to mess with the seat post. So I got to take this out of the stand, loosen the seat post, pull the post up, because pulling the post up will automatically pull this through, and then I'm gonna have to, you know, push it back in and back through, which can be a pain in the butt also. So yeah, more challenges. Not as easy as I thought it was gonna be. So here we go. Gotta feed the cable, or unfeed the cable, and then feed it back. Okay, that was a total mess. So I had to basically pull the cable through towards the seat post, the housing, so I could feed the wire back in through it. And thank goodness Salsa has guides in the frame, because it would just pull in and out easily. I ordered a new dropper cable just because I feel like this one isn't the greatest, but it'll do for now, at least to show you how this installs. Now, so after I thread the wire through here and pop it into this barrel adjuster, it's basically going to wrap around. You see that? It wraps around the little roller, and then this is the little pinch bolt that's going to pinch the wire. So not sure which size Allen key that's gonna need. I'm guessing it's this one. Yep. So we're gonna loosen that. See the gap? We're gonna basically feed this through the gap. There we go. Now we want to make sure the lever is obviously in its outer position, right? That this is pulled tight. What I usually do is I'll grab like a needle nose. And I'll pull on this. Just to make sure everything's snug. And then I'll tighten this down. Now, one thing I know, and I've noticed from experience, is that when I push this lever to actuate the seat post, things are going to seat in place. I'm going to have to probably readjust this. So let's test that, right? As long as I got that tight enough, what'll happen here is when I pull the lever, it's going to push everything into place. So there's like a little rubber, you know, seat device here. See, now the cable's all loose. Yep, that's exactly what happened. And then we will readjust. So what this is doing is it's just seating the cable at the bottom of the post, seating it right here, getting everything all tight again, so I can loosen it. So I didn't crank it super tight because I wasn't like in its final position. Now we'll get that lever back up there. Pull everything tight again. Make sure that's in there. Make sure. Dropping tools. I gotta make sure I loosen this enough, because it doesn't want to seem to move. There we go. Now I'll go through this process again and see what happens. Push the lever. Yeah, now everything seems tight. Give it a couple good hard pushes. Make sure this is all seated in there tightly and that it's seated at the base of the seat post. Yeah, feels pretty good. So there you go. This part's done. Obviously I have to cut this off and put a little end on there so it doesn't fray. I do not have an end right now, so I'm gonna have to get one of those and do that. They make all different kinds of colors too, so if I want to get like a purple one or something to kind of match my theme, I might do that. So I'm gonna just leave this long for now. So let's go ahead and take this off the stand and see if the dropper post actually works. Alright, here's the true test. Perfect. And yes, it is easier to push, and yep, it's perfect. Oh, I like the wolf tooth dropper. Feels way better than the Shimano one. Definitely an improvement. I can even like tighten it up a little bit. Awesome. There you have it. New dropper lever installed. Please like and subscribe. Peace.